Hey guys, this is Audrey Eamon, and the student teaching ed TPA video that I will be analyzing was taught by Mrs. Kathryn Coury, and it's a video from 2015. I just want to start by saying that, in my opinion, there is a lot of room for improvement in this video, and I will explain my reasoning as we go along.
We start to see a bunch of reforms start to take place, and one of the most interesting things about these reforms is women. Women start to really get a voice and really start to want to be heard. Now, the interesting thing between women at this time
Okay, so right off the bat, I want to point out, so that you guys can be looking for it too as we go along, is that the whole lecture that she's giving, she avoids these students right here. Not avoids, I guess, but she neglects them, and she definitely pays attention to all of these students as opposed to these. Her back is turned to these students a lot of the time, and I definitely think that is an area for improvement. I'm sure she's doing it by accident, but I think it's important to make sure that our body language is engaging to every student in the classroom and not just the easiest group.
you wanted to own property, could you? Yeah. If you were in a bad relationship and you wanted to get a divorce, could you?
So what she did just there by putting her hand on the shoulder and asking a student a specific question, but a general question that is going to aid the entire class in discussion, I think that's really great. I think it's a really good way, especially if you notice that a student is nodding off or just not paying attention. Maybe they're on a website that they're not supposed to be on with the technology that they have the opportunity to use. I think that, just laying a hand on them and engaging them, pulling them back into the conversation with a question instead of calling out their name and saying, "Why aren't you listening?" I think asking an engaging question is a lot better way to go about that.
If Janae wanted to go vote, could you just walk into that and vote? No. So women didn't have much of a voice, and I really think she's one of the most intriguing ladies. Her name is Dorothea Dix, and she is going to start a prison reform. Is that the place you always see women?
Yeah, totally.
Prison?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. Well, I think y'all get the point. No, you wouldn't see women in here. So she goes in and she says, "Hey, these places are really bad." And she starts to see the conditions that people are struggling with at this time. And she realizes, okay, guess what? The people that she's starting to see, they're only being left. They're not being given an education. They're not being given any psychiatric help. They're not being given any medication. They're not being given any attention. Essentially, she realizes that the people who are being put in the...
She's also at this point now ignoring these students on the right side. She doesn't do this as badly as she does the left side, but still I think it's worth mentioning one more time that I think it's really important to make sure that you're engaging with all of the students. Even if you have an odd classroom setup, I think it's important to make sure that you make a conscious and intentional effort to use your body language to engage with every student.
Place in the prison. Not all of them belong there, and not all of them, pretty much none of them have a chance of doing anything with their life for the rest of them, as long as they live. They're being told that there's no potential for them, and they're basically going to die in prison. And is that right?
It sounds.
And unfortunately, that is some of the...
I also want to point out that I think it was a great idea for her to make this PowerPoint that's up here in front of the entire class available to every student on their personal laptops. That might aid, and it definitely creates some accessibility to those students who might have a disability. Maybe they're dyslexic and it's hard reading far away, or reading in general. They have the opportunity to read right in front of them, or maybe they just can't see very far away, that kind of thing. Maybe they forgot their glasses that day. So I definitely appreciate and applaud her for making this PowerPoint available on their personal computers as well. That being said, I also think she's doing a really good job. You will notice every once in a while that she will walk around and peek at every computer screen just to make sure that they're not misusing that technology. And I think that's a job well done on her part as well.
That were happening. So she said, okay, we got to reform this, and we need to really make this good. And I'm not going to dwell on a lot of these. Some of them we'll go over a little bit, but temperance. If you see the word temperance, does anybody know what that means?
Being mad.
That's temperament. Temperance, it kind of, I guess, can relate. If you see the word temperance, I want you to know alcohol. You see this word, think alcohol, okay? And this is when women were trying to really suggest, hey, alcohol is not good, and getting drunk is not good, and we need to do a temperance movement to really control this. And we're about to talk about that a little bit more. But also, women's education that started to become a really focal point, a main focal point at this time, because before now.
Something I might have done whenever she introduced the word temperance to them is have them either write it down or turn to a neighbor and repeat to them what she just defined it as, especially if it is going to be a big topic on this second Great Awakening that they're learning about, the temperance movement. If it's something that she wants to test them on or analyze them on, make sure that they understand it, I definitely think she could have done something more to really drive home and ingrain that new definition in their brains. I think especially since she asked them if any of them knew what it meant and nobody replied with the correct answer, I definitely think she should have used that as an opportunity to say, okay, well, let's learn this new definition, let's write it down, and then turn to a partner, and repeat to them what it means. And then that would have served to help them remember what it means.
Remember the Industrial Revolution, we just got done talking about that. Was it very common for children to go to school?
No.
Not during the Industrial Revolution. And so now we're starting to see people say, hey, what about our education? And we matter as women. And you start to see a lot of people start pushing for this. And abolitionists, a few classes have known what that word meant. Do you guys know what abolitionist means? If I say I'm an abolitionist and I want to stop, what am I stopping?
Drugs.
And that would be nice, but at the time there was a bigger issue.
Crime.
What did you say? Abolitionist means you were fighting to end slavery.
So
Big deal.
Alright.
Big deal at the time. And so as we start to see all of these reforms start to take place, because people start analyzing, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing or am I conforming? And as a result, we see new religious groups start to occur, which kind of goes back to answer that question. Why are there so many different religions? Why are there so many different churches in the United States? Why don't they all act the same and just get along together? And it's partially because of the second Great Awakening.
Okay, so I just want to pause here for a minute, not because she just did anything super worth mentioning, but I do want to point out that this is only a 5-minute clip. The clip from YouTube in its entirety was about 45 minutes, and the whole thing was a lecture. And in my opinion, there are much better ways to go about relaying all this plethora of information to these students other than a lecture. It's in more effective ways as well, because a lecture does not engage the students on a level that an activity could. She is doing a fairly good job of asking questions and waiting for responses, trying to keep them engaged, but an activity would do a much better job of keeping every student engaged and not just the ones who had their morning coffee. So I definitely don't applaud the 45-minute lecture, and I wish she did do an extra activity. I will say that at the very, very end of this lesson, which won't be in this specific trimming of the clip. She has, I think, 3 students share a modernized song, a rap song, from this time period. It was from a poem, but they turned it into a rap song in order to be more modern and with this time period. And that was cool. And those 3 students seemed to really enjoy it. But even so, that's only 3 students out of the what looks like probably 30 that are in this classroom. So I definitely think that she could have improved her planning and incorporate more activities that engage every student as opposed to a 45-minute lecture. I just wanted to stop here and say that really quick so that you guys have that in your brain as we're finishing up this clip.
We see a bunch of different groups start to be created, and it's because they didn't want to conform. They believe that they have the right concept. One of these that we still have very prominently in the United States is Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What else is that known as? Starts with an M. A different M. Mormons, yes. Anyway, so the Mormons was a big group that was created during this time period, and they are very still prominent, especially in the West, and a lot of them will come to other states and spread the message that they believe in. So that's a huge group that was just created during this time period and still plays a huge role in society today. Revivalism. When I group together, let's say this whole group right here, they think like me, so I'm going to group with them. If you're around your friends and you decide that you get excited about something and you're back with your friends, don't you get excited a little bit more easily than with a stranger? Yeah, you get pretty easily. You don't. Well, most people, well, good. You don't conform, huh? So most people at this time, they started to group together with similar concepts.
Okay, so we're here at the end of this video. I just wanted to give a couple more comments over the clip that we just saw, but one thing that I will say that she did do a few times in the beginning was she linked previous lessons and previous knowledge that they had learned into this lesson. So this lesson was over the second awakening, the second awakening, and in the beginning of the lesson she asked them what the first one was, and they answered it and they knew it, and so she was able to connect that and applaud them and say, yes, so what do you think the second was going to be about? And then they were able to answer that as well. So that was a good job on her part in linking prior and personal knowledge with this new learning. However, and I guess she did try to do that as well by asking definitions of the temperance and then also the abolitionists. So she also did a good job there. Overall, I think my main concern with this lesson was that it was solely lecture-based. I definitely think that it could have been better and that these students would retain the information better if she had incorporated more activities for them to tangibly hold on to and remember. Most of these students are probably half asleep during this. I know this because I was once a high school student, and during lectures I was half asleep and maybe remembered a fourth of what my teacher would talk about. I would tune their voices out and I would just be zoned out. So I definitely think that if she had incorporated more writing or maybe let them draw something, create something with technology. This is 2015, and so laptops in the classroom were a fairly new thing, and so it could have been really interesting for students to be able to create a digital activity or assignment on their laptops. So I definitely think that the lecture was a no-go, but she did the best she could under the circumstances. And so with that, I will leave you to your own thoughts and any comments you have over this video.